Hi everyone, Zaras Mataz here. It's good to be with you guys again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking the time off to be with me once again. Today, actually before I start, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and like the videos, go through the videos. I'm just offering my unsolicited opinions about African sports. So, and if you like them, share with your friends as well. Anyway, I'm here today with a good friend of mine, actually. Her name is Lerina Bright. She's with Mission 89. She'll tell us a bit more about that later. But yeah, she's always been a big sports fan from when we were in high school together. Remember when I told you guys I went to the best high school in Africa, AIS? Yeah, she's
That is true.
That's true. That's right. That's right. She's a testimony, a testament to that. So yeah, we're going to have a chat about her experience in sports and the kind of things she does and what it helps, how helpful it is to African sports. So yeah, Lerina, thanks for being with us. And please, let's start by, introducing yourself and telling us a bit more about you and your experience with sports.
Well, thank you so much, Willem, and it's a true honor to be on your show. Yes, it is, of course. And who would ever have thought, right? Oh, thanks. But who would ever have thought both of us are in this space, and it's great that that you have this platform. So as Willem said, my name is Lerina Bright, and I'm the Executive Director of Mission 89, which is a research, education, and advocacy organization based in Geneva that's tackling the very specific exploitation in sport, which is trafficking, the trafficking of young aspiring players. And obviously this, I know most people think, if they even know of the issue, they think more around football, because that is where the data is, but trafficking in sport also occurs in and through sport, also in basketball, in baseball, and so these are the issues that we are that we're focusing on. I started my career within the sport federation system, and so I worked with the Irish Football Association in Belfast. I also worked with the Bahrain Olympic Committee, Bahrain Football Association, and I think the last stint that I had was at CONCACAF, which is a confederation of North America, Central and Caribbean football. I hope I got that in proper order.
I guess that's it, yeah. But I thought you also you also did something with, is it canoeing or something weird like that?
I did. My goodness, that's terrible. Yes, and I was there for no. Well, I mean, football is my passion. Olympic sports and canoeing as well is an Olympic sport. So I was there in the capacity of the communications manager, and actually in most of my sporting career, I have been in the space of international relations, communications, public relations, and managing the relationships between sport organizations and other sport entities. Just to connect it to where I am now, I have to say that when I was in this space, I didn't really hear much, if at all, about issues relating to child protection or child welfare. When I mean child protection, I mean athlete welfare or player welfare, player safeguarding. These were not topics or concepts that were being talked about, and even less so human trafficking. And so I was very surprised, like many of the people that I speak to these days, that this was happening in the sporting space when I was there and in there. But yeah.
So pretty much you've been in sports ever since you finished school.
Yes, I did have, I had about, what would you say, a year or two in the financial sector, in the commercial real estate financing sector. But then I went on to do a master's in Switzerland at the AISDS, where I had a master's in sports administration and technology, and that gave me put my foot in the door, so to speak. And since then, haven't looked back. It's a passion. It's always been a passion of mine to work in
I'm very
sports,
aware of that.
and it's been a privilege. So yeah.
Okay, so you were telling us about, you know, you not seeing anything about human trafficking, you know, child protection and all that. Is that the only thing that was that the only motivation for you setting up Mission 89, or were there other things?
No, that was it. So, you know, it took me stepping away from the field in 2015 due to a series of unfortunate and fortunate events, depending on how you want to look at it now, because I do feel a great sense of, you know, I keep on using the word privilege, but also humility, that I'm now in a position where I can raise the visibility of this issue. But the fact is, when I was in that environment, it's just didn't come to light, even though I did have one colleague who alluded to safeguarding issues when he was coming up in football,
right.
And that ended his career. But no, and so I was very shocked, you know, when upon reading an interview of a football trafficking survivor. And I thought, no, you know, I had been in this field, doesn't happen, couldn't happen. And the first thought was, oh, it's these bad agents, you know, football agents, fake agents. But in speaking to, I then contacted, you know, some of the survivors that were in the articles, in the documentaries that I then started to watch. Spoke to journalists and realized that this was indeed a serious issue, and because of the nature of it, and because there's so much complicity, and it's not only, as I said, yes, fake agents, that's a problem, but they're only a tip of the iceberg, because
it's a whole network
it is a whole network. It's essentially organized. There's a lot of complicity, all the way from, you know, the people at the visa offices that are giving these visas, knowing that you know, these young children are actually not going to play football, but are, you know, being put to other use on arrival, or just the intent is to abandon them, which is sometimes the case. And so it is, you know, you find there's also complicity, you know, from unfortunately from football clubs, and from just sport organizations, national associations. There's complicity from immigration. There's complicity from government agencies that turn a blind eye to this issue. And so it's a multi-stakeholder problem that requires a multi-stakeholder solution.
Right. Okay, well, so now I know you're developing a toolkit against trafficking. I know because I've been privileged to have been part of trying to get that done. But since you're the brain behind it, I'd like you to tell us a bit more about it and what the whole idea is.
Well, I mean, first of all, I have to thank you, Willem, for that. Yes, well, I mean, you were the originator of that thought, being that, you know, you came to me to Mission 8. Yes, you know, indeed.
Hey,
and
small guy like that.
Well, no, but it's the truth, and that's the reason why I keep on, you know, I always say this. You know, I do all this with a certain level of humility, because more so than in my previous life working at the federation level, and because the people, you know, Mission 89, myself personally, you know, have received so much support, so much insight from people such as yourself, and what you brought was, you came to us and you asked, you know, I'm taking a group of young kids. I think I can't remember where I do know where the destination was.
Well, I think that was Dubai.
Yes, Dubai. And you know, and do you have a set of standards that you could share with us, with me, that I can then share with the parents or share with the visa office, share, you know, just to make sure that we are doing the right thing, that I'm doing the right thing as in you, and you know, realized and did some, you know, because at that time Mission 89 didn't have such a tool in place, and I also did some research to see whether there was something existing for you, and it just doesn't exist, and there isn't any set of standard, any set of guidelines that helps academies to safeguard, to have a safeguarding framework in place, to protect the young people that they're looking after. And that's how the Academy Toolkit project was born. And just a quick update on that, we have, you know, you were part of the initial consultation process. And we've been building on that.
Okay.
Well, it's you know, and now we've set up an Academy Toolkit working group that includes, you know, you know, members from very esteemed human rights organizations, sports organizations. And actually, I should invite you to be part of this working group. Actually, you know,
I'd love to be. Trust me.
And so we also want to have parents involved. We want to have people that are on the ground, are very familiar with the, you know, the workings of academies. So we have 2 members that are heads of academies. And we hope to also, by the way, pilot this in Ghana, and would love to have the Ghana Football Association be part of this initiative, just putting it right out there. And so, yes.
Right. So it's not fully completed yet, as you've said. So how hard do you think it will be to get the appropriate authorities to actually like adopt this, and how far and wide do you want this to reach?
Well, I mean, that's what we're discussing now with the working group. We want it to be a global toolkit. I know that, I mean, there's a huge challenge there because, you know, through the initial studies that we have undertaken, we realize that there are different tier levels of academies, right? And so how do we create a simple, you know, we're not looking for a UN document here. We're looking for 2-3 pages that, you know, any academy can get a hold of, and that guides their thinking process, you know. So we're not, you know, somebody might look and say, oh, standards, you know, maybe they have a booklet or a manual. Nobody has time for that. That's just, I don't have time for that. That's just the reality. Right?
Makes everything so cumbersome too. So
yes, you know, and we have to realize that, that even at a very low level, you know, support needs to be there. But what we have found, and not without wanting, you know, our role as Mission 89 and our ethos is not to point fingers and shame, but I can tell you that we have had conversations with very, you know, I would put top tier football associations in Europe. Due to some cases that were brought to us from academies, rogue academies with safeguarding issues. And part of the discussion was, you know, what, you know, do you have standards? Is there, you know, for example, you know, if a coach wants to register with an academy, you know, are there any certification processes or checks or verification that are in place that are demanded from the you know, the Football Association? And there's none. You know, and you'll be, so I know that many people are thinking that the problem is, you know, these roadside academies and all that. And it's true, you know, maybe they in terms of facilities, infrastructure, the tier 1 roadside academies are bottom of the barrel, you know. But the only difference between the lower level academies and the higher level is in terms of facilities and in terms of professional training, right? And in terms of benefits and maybe even access.
But operationally,
right?
everything is pretty much the same.
But when it comes to their, when it comes to safeguarding, from the top to the bottom, the difference in approach or lack thereof is very, very similar. And that's what we want the toolkits to speak to, the different levels, because the top level, they may have they may have the human resource and the financial resource to put this in place, right? But they don't have the framework. They don't know, they don't how to, right? They don't have that guidance, right? But they have everything in place. The bottom, they don't have neither, right? And so whatever we do needs to be, at that level, at the middle to the lower level. Yeah.
Right. Oh man, I'm excited about this, and I'm really happy that someone is taking the initiative to try and protect the young players. So I mean, when it comes to trafficking, it's not only about kids, is it? I mean, I guess like people, I don't know, players over 18 get deceived into thinking that they can get contracts, are sent abroad, and are abandoned as well, right? I mean,
absolutely.
So this is not just about kids, even though I'm sure kids are like the primary focus, but whatever it is that you're developing involves pretty much anyone that gets trafficked, right?
Well, within the academy system, if we're just keeping within the academy system, then normally it would be 18 and under, right?
Right.
So I would say that we are talking about kids, and and a point of consideration for that is that FIFA has, if we're speaking about football, and also basketball, and also there are some sport organizations, some sports that have very clear rules about the transfer and the movement of players.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, in football, because I know your audience probably that's their, for football, there's Article 19, right, which clearly states that you cannot play for a move to another association if you're under the age of 18. Right. That's clear. So basically, any movement of somebody that's under that needs to be approved by FIFA.
Right.
And we know that's not happening, right? That these fake agents or these, they're not going through that process, right? So, but that doesn't mean that people over 18 are not moving, but the reality is that, the talent is getting younger. So by 18 normally, and that's the problem. If you haven't been discovered, then not that it's too late for you, but
your chances are nothing.
I would say.
Right. Oh, well, so with all your experience all over the world, Ireland, Bahrain, Geneva, wherever, you're an African. You've lived in Africa. I mean, obviously, you've lived in Ghana. You've been in your own. She's from Sierra Leone, by the way, just in case you guys don't know. So big shout to Sierra Leone. What do you think? Like, if you look at like from your experience all over the world, what do you think that we need to do in Africa? Yeah. What do you think we need to improve on in Africa to make us become more competitive in both economic terms and sporting terms?
I think, it's the traffickers and exploiters, period, preying on young people, their parents, and actually the country, because of the vulnerability of the citizens, right? The vulnerability of the young people and parents, because there is not much opportunity.
Right.
So, and this is my opinion, but I think what really needs to be done for anything to change is the improvements, the professionalization of the game in Africa. Right? We need to have leagues and academies that are properly run. We need to have competitive leagues, and for that we need to have proper infrastructure. sports infrastructure in place, because when proper marketing, and that's part of the professionalization of the game, so proper administrators and all that. And why are you laughing? Hint, hint.
I'm not too sure people will be happy to hear this, but I mean, don't worry about
that. Yeah, I know where you're coming from. But, I think until that happens, then because, unless when I say players, unless young people can see an opportunity to play in their own league, and get paid a decent amount, and decent is relative, then, you will have people trying to make that journey. I'm pretty sure that there are some people that, even with as much talent as they have, it breaks their heart that they have to leave home to go practice a sport that, that they love. So it's not that everybody just wants to go,
I totally agree.
And so if there's a proper structure, a proper infrastructure in place, where, the fact is, the Premier League, La Liga, I mean, they will, pretty much as the foresight looks now, they will always be the top the top earners will always be there. The top 5 leagues, they are established at the top as the top 5 leagues at the moment, right? We are not necessarily going to see a shift there. But however, if the African League, at a national level, at a continental level, can even be brought, I believe, halfway up there, or even maybe one third right now.
Yes, no, I agree.
We will see that change. We will see younger people deciding to stay home and play, until they're a bit older. Maybe it's 20 years, maybe it's 21, and then make that leap. And that's what we want. That's what we want, to keep them home as long as possible.
True. I mean, over here in Ghana, there have been conversations being had about remuneration. Like, people are saying that if they could get paid as little, and I use that word very carefully here, as little as 2,000 cedis, a lot of people will be willing to just stay home and play football. And 2,000 cedis right now is probably just a little over $300. So really, it's nothing. Like, if you compare it to what's being paid out there, it's nothing for a month. You know what I'm saying? So I totally agree with you. I guess that if we are able to just clean our house and do things right, things will be much, much better, and we won't be confronted with some of these problems, especially in your case, trafficking.
And it's really doable. I mean, you're a commercial, well, in a positive way, commercial guy, and you're both operations, but you've got that business intuition as well. And I'm sure that you've given $300 as a figure. Imagine if companies in Ghana, there are many international companies, many local companies, multi-million-dollar companies, if they can see the value, and I'm sure they see the value actually in football, but the problem is, who is running it, the administration. If they give the money, and we see it at a national level already sometimes, if they give the money, what are they going to get back for it? For them to be able to actually realize, the gains, the return of investment, that takes a professional, that takes a marketeer, such as yourself, right? I know your other things other than a marketeer, but it takes somebody that understands the game, but in a profession that can market it properly, can give that value to, and speak that value to sponsors, so that they recognize where the visibility is. And so it's not just somebody that comes and puts on a cap and loves football. That's not the determining, that's not going to create value. Right. So I think there is money, there is opportunity in Africa if the right people are in the right place. It's all there. It's all there.
Oh man, I'm so happy. We're very much on the same wavelength because I've been saying pretty much the same thing in my write-ups. I've said something similar in the previous episode. So yeah, it's just another call, guys. It can be done. It can be done. And we just need to make sure that we get the right people. That's not to say that there aren't the right people there. That's another conversation for another day. But we just need to make sure that we get the right people and the right things done in order to get the support that we need. Anyway, Lerina, finally, does Mission 89 have any programs that focus on girls and women's sports? Anything?
So yes and no. I mean, obviously for the moment, the big the target, as it were, usually tends to be young boys and football and so forth. But we're
So that's more
seeing with
prevalent.
that's more prevalent, right? Mm-hmm. And but now that we're seeing an increase in and with women's football being the fastest growing sport in the world, and women being increasingly vulnerable, we can and we've already started seeing cases of female players being trafficked and all that, right? And so what we're doing at the moment, our programs that we develop, we make sure that there's a gender component. So for example, we're now designing an e-learning module. I'm not going to, for the probably the biggest sport in the world and the biggest organized sports organization in the world. So you can think about who that could be. An e-learning awareness raising, for agents, right? And we've made sure that there's a gender component in that, in that module. In our anti-trafficking awareness, which is a Not in Our Game campaigns that we deliver in person and via webinars. So if there's anybody out there that wants to receive this anti-trafficking education on how human trafficking occurs in and through sport, please contact Willem and he'll let us know. But there's a gender.
The links and and everything in the description of the video so that
okay.
Right.
Okay. So there is a but is there a very specific program for women? No. But we do make sure that we focus on women in all the components and just draw attention to the fact that women are at a risk, and I don't like to say this because I think that I see women as being very powerful and being very capable, but it's they are at an at-risk group is what women are categorized at, and there's science and data behind that. But yes, so we always draw attention to the specific risks that women have in the trafficking spectrum. Yeah.
Miss Bright, it's always a pleasure
Mr.
talking
Coleman.
to you. Always a pleasure talking to you. It's been really good, and I've really enjoyed the conversation today. Thanks for taking the time out. I know that you are out in the States having some family time. So I appreciate you being with us.
Having a coffee. So sorry for the background.
I actually like
not
it.
In my office.
That's your office?
No, I'm not in the office.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I'm in a public space. So just in case you saw people walking around.
I'm sure that shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, so yeah. So thanks a lot, Lerina. Thanks a lot, viewers. If you like the video, click on the like button. If you haven't subscribe, share, let your friends have a look. And I'll be sharing links about Mission 89 in the description. So if you want to learn more, you can. I'm sure there's a way you can contact them, and I'm sure they'll be glad to help in whatever way that they can. Yeah. So thank you so much, Lerina.
Thank you, Willem. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot. So, all right, guys. So I'll see you again next time. Thanks a lot. Take care.
And good luck with everything. It's amazing. You're doing amazingly well.
Thank you.
And walking your path, and I'm sure you will be great. So
I hope to be. Thanks a lot, Lerina. All right.
Bye.
See you. Take care.